Thank you, Mr. President. I'm here today with our senior senator, Lamar Alexander, to speak on something very tragic that occurred in our state and in my hometown. Today I rise to honor the lives of 5 American heroes. The 5 American heroes we honor today with the lowering of flags here at the U.S. Capitol. Our community is heartbroken, as has been said many times. Our state is heartbroken, and I believe our nation is heartbroken that these outstanding young men died in the way that they did. But we honor their lives, and we mourn their loss. We think of the greatness that they embodied. Thomas Sullivan, David Wyatt, Carson Holmquist, Skip Wells, and Randall Smith. I think as a nation has learned about these individuals here carrying out what many would consider to be mundane activities in support of our U.S. military, those who protect us. I think as they have gotten to know these individuals, they understand the greatness that they symbolized. Most of them having served in Afghanistan and Iraq, and some of them younger, beginning their careers, but all having excellent backgrounds and exemplifying the very best that America has to offer. So our nation mourns, our community mourns, and we have lost 5 of our greatest. Also hospitalized in Chattanooga today is a young man named Dennis Pettigo, whose mother and father both served on the Chattanooga Police Department, and he has followed in their footsteps. And I think people have heard all around our country the tremendous heroism that was exemplified by the Chattanooga Police Department, who rushed at this assailant and brought him to his end. By the way, trained to do so, trained to go at them. This was not a SWAT team, but these were patrol squads who were trained to deal with this kind of situation, and no doubt saved the lives of other people in doing so. So we honor them. We honor all of them. We celebrate them. But also as a community, we have been harmed. And our community has prayed. We had a vigil on Friday night that was extraordinary. Senator Alexander was there with our governor, our mayor, county officials, and others. Extraordinary time of our community coming together around what has happened. And I do believe that the thing that people all over the country and the world have heard about Chattanooga Strong is true. And I think our community will be even stronger because of what has happened, but our nation must understand where we are in the world and that these types of activities possibly will continue. I had a very good conversation on Friday with the Pentagon to talk about what they are doing. I know threat activity has been rising for some time, and they're looking at what needs to be done to ensure that this doesn't happen again. I had a very good conversation this morning with Senator McCain, who I know is leading efforts with the House members to figure out in the NDAA, a piece of legislation that we can deal with very quickly here and just in the next few weeks, ways of making sure that we have policies to protect. So our community is praying for these individuals. It's my hope that we here will put in place policies to ensure that we appropriately protect these individuals. But in addition to that, there are tangible things that we can do. I know that when things like this happen, there are certain types of federal benefits. I know our offices are working together to coordinate that in addition to outside groups. I do want to say that thankfully our community has come together to make sure that these families have the financial support that they need beyond that. And there's an effort underway in Chattanooga now. I hope people around the world will participate to make sure that, again, the financial support that is necessary to sustain these families in light of what happened occur. My friend and a great Tennessean, or at least we claim him as that. He lives in Chattanooga for a part of the year. Peyton Manning has lent his name to this effort, and my sense is you're going to see a generous outpouring to ensure that at a base level, some of the needs of these families, if not all financially, will be dealt with in an appropriate way. So let me just close by saying this. Our community has been shocked, as has the world. We have lost 5 outstanding people, and it has shaken their families, I had the opportunity to meet with the family briefly of the fallen sailor, the last person to pass, who was riddled with bullets and fought. The Erlanger Trauma Squad worked with him for hours and hours and hours trying to save his life. And finally, after a tremendous fight, he lost his life, again in the line of duty. But the needs of these families are great, and while our community is praying, they're going to try to meet the needs in other ways. But how do we respond to this? And I know that Lamar and I both have mentioned what comes out of this. The fact is that I feel like our community is like none that I've witnessed from the standpoint of its compassion to others. And my sense is the way our community is going to respond to this is much like I would refer to in Genesis 12, where God said to the Jewish people that they were blessed to be a blessing. I think that most people in our community believe that in our community and in our state and our nation, we've been incredibly blessed. And my sense is that in addition to responding to the specific needs that need to be dealt with, both here in Washington and back home, and certainly at the state level, my sense is that our community is going to rise up and ensure that because we have been blessed, we continue to be a blessing to others. That is my hope. That is what I'm seeing happen. I've never seen such an outpouring of compassion any place in my life. I'm proud to represent Tennessee. I'm proud that my hometown has responded in the way that it has, in spite of the deep mourning and grief that we have for these outstanding men who lost their lives in the line of duty. And with that, I'd like to, by the way, we'll be introducing, Senator Alexander and I will be introducing a resolution later today that my sense is the entire Senate will want to be a part of. With that, I turn to my distinguished friend, my great colleague, one of the greatest senators our state has ever had, Lamar Alexander.